terrible singing voices. Welcome to Terrible Singing Voices podcast, where we sing popular show themes completely off key. I'm Admir, that's Chris. We're going to go over the penultimate episode of True Detective.
Where was this enthusiasm last episode?
Because you know what? Screw the Oscars, dog. They're
Facts.
eating people as we speak.
These are facts.
Big facts. All right, and you were leading at that one, so I didn't want.
I don't have leadership material.
I didn't want to out energy you. All right, so here we go. We're going over the episode 8, 7, 7.
You stupid? It's not the finale yet.
Yeah, we're going over episode 7, the final country. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Or the last? I think it's the final.
It's the final country, man.
The final country. Yep, that's right. The final country. Things seem to be fitting into place. People are dying, closing up loops, etc., etc. Let me run you down, Chris, a small list of things that happen in this episode. Pay attention. Stop reading weird things on your Twitter account. Here we go.
I'm literally looking at True Detective.
So here's what it starts with. He drops off his daughter. I can't tell what timeline that's in.
That is in the middle of the 90s and then the 2015 one.
Right. I thought so too. Right. They didn't fit in one of the original 3. I thought it's very telling what she says to him. You got to pick some heavy shit because that's when you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Wayne doesn't seem to be an individual who can enjoy life.
Well, thank God we got a scene with those two.
Yeah, I find it was good to see his relationship with his daughter was fine up until college, it seems. So we don't know what happens after that. Moving forward, there's a Tom suicide in the 80s, in the 80s, 90s, in the 90s storyline. Yes, suicide, obviously framed after he was caught in the pink room, and he's put there. Yeah, the guys are too easily convinced by the typewriting shit. Like, he clearly didn't like his wife. I don't know why they were all gung-ho about, yep, we did it. And Roland feels especially
guilty
because he feels like they pushed him into that hole. In 1980s, Tom and Roland, what did I say here? I don't know what the hell I wrote down. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's what it is. And then we have Amelia meeting Lucy's best friend. They have this conversation about whether she had ever seen Amelia around, whether she had ever seen Lucy around with this alleged black man with a gray eye. Her best friend doesn't recall. Gives her a picture, though, of the Halloween night, which was, I think, only a week after.
Yeah.
A week prior to the kids dying.
Or months, I don't know.
No, because they died in November. So very early November, I remember. Okay. It's like November 5th or 6th. Yeah, and there's some talk of these two ghosts in the background, which are potentially the two people that are handing out the dolls. So there's that. And then she has a very, I guess, incredibly powerful line in this episode, where she says, you know, some people have to remember. So she's almost the gatekeeper of these people's lives, right? Somebody, you know, it's a good point because as a society, we'd like to move on from shit quite quickly. But we also need to recognize not everybody can, and especially people who are close to the people who suffer, they can't move on so easily. Anyway, so that happens. We also have Dan escaping, which is something I lost my mind at last week and unfortunately came to fruition. Hopefully they salvage whatever BS that is in the final episode because he still hasn't died yet, and I'm pretty sure they would have shown him dying. So he's still around there. He's gonna have a big say in probably the last episode. This is also the episode where it seems like Wayne ends his interviewing with Eliza.
I know you, girl.
Yes. He ends the interviewing with her because he feels like he has enough information that he wanted.
Yeah.
He's doing some detective trickery here where he seems like aloof, but clearly he's siphoning information as the interviews have been going on. Prior to this, there's this alleged, questioning back and forth about how if he felt the case was handled properly and if he felt the 2 times that it was closed down, and they always pinned it on the most recently killed or recent death of an individual. If you felt that was a sort of an adequate ending to the case, and both times, obviously, he did not. And it's important to note that Eliza brings to him this information of like, oh, did you notice that every time somebody dies, they get pinned for the murders? And then he goes, no. And immediately there's a flashback to the 80s where clearly he says to Roland, isn't it crazy how every time so he's very much playing a fool to try to get information from her. We also had that one scene with Amelia, going around asking for questions about this dude with a gray eye. And I thought it was a very good scene, actually, with the kids in the trunk.
Yeah.
Good amount of suspense on that one. We also have the questioning of one of the Hoyt workers. So in the current storyline, Roland and Wayne head to this, older woman who had worked for the Hoyts as a sort of a maid or something like that, living maid, and she talks about this weird shit that's been happening because of one of their daughters, and she mentions that there was one dude named Mr. June, which I think should not go unnoticed because Julia called
July.
Right? So there's this connection, this weird shit about naming themselves after summer months. So they question her. Clearly, this person existed. And then there's the most important scene in this episode where the boys track down Harrison and subsequently kill him, and they bury his body. And yet again, we have Roland being upset at Wayne because he did something he did not want to do, as earlier in the episode. Then there's the whole scene in the current timeline with the license plate, where it seems like he's not crazy. There has been a black sedan that's been following him around, and the two of them are able to get the plate number. And do you think that dispels, we can ask this later, do you think that dispels any notion that Roland is in on it when clearly he's helping out? Do you think Roland...
Couldn't get this done before, Amir?
Nope. And then we have the bug out scene right after that license plate shenanigans from them two, where it seems like Wayne has an episode, everything goes dark, beautiful shot.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a great scene transition to the 90s of him burning his clothes. Amelia comes out. He doesn't tell her anything. The next morning, he still doesn't tell her anything. Hoyt is outside in his weird-ass limo, says...
Some funeral shit.
Yeah, says, I'd like to talk to your family. Very mysteriously evil.
Michael Rooker, shout out to
Yeah, and, they take Wayne in the car, and off they go.
Great shot, by the way.
That's the episode.
That's it, right?
That's everything that happened
Stitcher,
in it.
Spotify.
All right, let's talk now. Positives and negatives. Do you want me to get my shit out of the way?
Go ahead.
Two things that bothered me in this episode. The Dan thing looked like it came full circle to the issue I had last episode where they needed to get him out of the way. And so a mysterious disappearance feeds this narrative to move forward, which for me is very lazy.
Well, who knows? We still got the next episode.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And the other thing that was a big issue for me was the way in which Harrison dies, right? It seems like the writers had it in their mind to have Roland and Wayne get enough information from him where they still think there's something weird going on, but he doesn't give everything away. So what do? They make up this scuffle in which they end up shooting him. What's interesting is, though, I did like it up until they shot him because the dude was very believable that he was getting messed up and he couldn't breathe and all that. But once they unlocked his thing, Roland shoots him in the back, not fatally, and then Wayne just goes apeshit and just straight up middle of the chest, blap.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Wayne delivers the final bullet.
No, Roland shoots him twice.
No, he doesn't.
I'm dead ass, bro.
I'm pretty sure Wayne shoots the second time.
No, he doesn't have the gun. No, he doesn't. He shoots him in the back.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Roland kills him?
Yes.
Really?
Bro, we just saw it. Oh my god.
I thought Roland kills him and then Wayne from close range shoots him again. Well, that's sus. That is sus then. Why does Roland do that? Anyway, I guess if it's not intentional, that's weird. That they kill him so easily because, again, he's another source of information that, dodge. By
that
accident.
too. But also it's like, it's such a mistake to take the handcuffs off.
Yeah.
And it's so cliche. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Hayes, you're literally GOAT at this job. How are we making these elementary school mistakes?
Yeah, like you were in Vietnam, you were a cop for a long time, and you're like uncuffing a dude. You're that convinced that, like, come on, man.
Like, what? All right, my son said his ribs hurt. Like, okay, let's take the handcuffs off now. Just let him breathe.
I don't know. So that one, and then final point, kind of annoying. Amelia's character in that scene where he's burning his shit, I feel like wasn't herself. Like, she accepts the crazy shit way too easily. I mean, this is a person who has frequently.
You gotta tell me what's going on, Wayne.
Dude, no, like she's frequently gone up to his face, poked his ass when she needed to, when she's like felt the moment was required. And I felt like this was a moment where if you're a wife and you see your husband do this shit, you're gonna bug out.
Yeah, I don't know, but clearly, like, you saw the look in his face. It was too serious, I think, at this point.
Fine.
Like, there's a line you gotta, like...
So then the next morning, again, something happens magically and he doesn't get to tell her, where it's like, it doesn't take an hour conversation. It just would have been like, here's what happened, right? But again, he doesn't get to tell her, which I think, to me, is a little bit like, we need to keep information away from Amelia's character. How do we do that? We make Wayne a piece of shit, which is like... Okay, fair, I guess, maybe. I don't know. To me, I don't think she was true to her character in that moment. Anyway, those are the issues I had with it.
Okay.
Did you have any issues with it before we moved to positives?
I mean, I had similar gripes to yours. I don't think as extreme.
I'm an extreme guy.
Yeah, that's true. You're a Jeff Hardy fan. We got NYU girls' speech.
Yes, Eliza.
Yeah. I feel like that was a little bit too much exposition.
About what? About the potential...
It was just she kind of explains what everything is. Like the antagonistic nature of the upper echelons of the world.
Yeah.
But we got a mark-out moment where McConaughey and Harrelson showed up
in the laptop screen.
I mean, I bugged out, dog. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, so it's clearly in the same universe.
Same universe. Now, if we get a cameo next week, I highly doubt it.
I don't want a cameo.
My god.
I don't want a cameo.
No. I know. Fan service, but
it's gonna take away too much.
It will. Maybe the ending's like, wow. And they just see each other.
Yeah? And then what?
And then a tag team match at WrestleMania.
They're off to fight Thanos?
Yeah. But no, I just thought that was a little bit too much exposition.
Yeah, I feel like that.
She's like, ooh, this downward spiral means like pedophile rings. I'm like,
the blue and all that.
I'm pretty sure he knows.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly trying to play her for information, but it may be information he knows already. But yeah, no, I think for viewers, it was very much like a shit ton of info at once.
But yeah. That's probably the only gripes. However, but all right. Overall, I do think this episode was a big step up from last week.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, last week was a shit show.
I wouldn't say a shit show.
It was a shit show.
Okay. Glad we got a little glimpse of what him and his daughter's relationship was, which I do think it's not a big part of the story. So I just think a little scene is fine here.
I think it's important for the character, not necessarily the story. So it's enough. I feel. Yeah. I still think we're gonna get more of that in the last episode.
How long is next week's episode? Because there's still a shit ton of shit we gotta...
Yeah, but I still feel... There's not going to be like an end to the case. There's not going to be like, this dude did it.
Yeah, and we got him.
Yeah. Boys.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We got him. Like, we're not going to have that moment, right? I'm preparing myself to not have a solved case. I don't think it will be solved. I think it's going to lead with like... They know who did it, but they can't do anything about it. Yeah, so they're just going to go on.
Well, I think it's most cases.
Yeah. Because, we're elite,
detectives,
elite veteran detectives of the NYPD.
Here we go. Shit that is already known.
We just say just general shit with no real conviction. Yeah.
So, I do think... Well, I thought
What do you think, mate? What you think?
Bruv. Was Tom. The Tom scene was, I thought, great. And you haven't seen The Wire. Well, did you finish season 1?
No.
Okay. Well, there's this...
Tom, what scene?
When he dies. When they just see him in the body.
Yeah.
This could be me overthinking, but it feels very similar.
Probably.
There's a scene in The Wire where, if you haven't seen The Wire, there's a shot of Omar.
Well, you don't have
this
to...
Is a spoiler
you have to use names. Don't ruin it for me. I still gotta watch this show. Well, you just said Omar.
Okay, but it's no.
Great. Now we can't do it.
There's a certain someone where they start off the show with his body shown. Like, it's mad, like, subtle. They just show his body just wrecked.
Oh, ew.
He's killed. And I just got Wire vibes from this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very similar. They just show it. But I thought it was a great scene. Predictable, though, because I think we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But the big positive of this week is that I feel like they're starting to, like, upper the engine. Like, you feel that the ending is coming.
Yeah, like we had... Oh, I forgot to...
Just horrible.
Upper the engine. Upper the engine. I'm writing that down. Upper...
I'm stupid.
Engine. You're getting a t-shirt with this for your birthday.
Guys...
Upper the engine.
T-shirt designs for Patreon soon.
I forgot to say the scenes of Wayne researching this dude flying out to Vegas in between Lucy's OD. So he clearly has something to do with it. And that's what he uses to convince Roland to make their way to follow him. Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I forgot to mention it in my recap. In my very shitty, very loose recap.
Loose. Yeah, I mean, that was good. They OD'd, quote unquote, but they'd probably just...
Yeah, probably not. I think she dies. They kill her. Again, just obvious shit. Welcome to the most obvious podcast you've ever seen around.
Yeah, they murder her, just like they do with the Eazy-E. But that's another story.
Okay.
Again, going back to your point, I love the scene where they kill Harris. It wasn't that I had a problem with it. It was a little underwhelming.
Okay, I feel like though. Okay, you're right. I hear you. The way it ends is very abrupt.
Yeah.
In terms of the lead up, you're like, oh shit. Because I feel like this episode brought the eerie back into the show. It brought back the suspense. It brought back the creep shit, right? What?
It was only 1 week of just us not liking an episode.
No, but like, no.
No, I see what you're saying.
It's not necessarily like it hasn't been suspenseful all episodes.
Yeah, this one, yeah.
Ante. Yeah, like from just that small scene with Amelia while her kids are in the car, right? Just that scene alone was suspenseful, right?
Yeah.
And so when we had this one with them tailgating Harrison, right?
Yeah.
There's some beautiful shots overhead of them at night without their car lights on, which is really creepy.
It's awesome
because they're following him rather. And the music that's playing on in the background,
it's awesome, dog.
It's great. And I mentioned to you off mic, Chris.
Stupid Chris again.
It was so reminiscent to me of like when you have Michael Myers in the new Halloween chase. Not Laurie, whatever her granddaughter's name was, it escapes my mind. And you have that like music with those interruptions of like this brash sort of boom sound, right?
Undertaker gongs.
Yeah. Like it's almost like a gong. You're right. And so this episode had that, and it brought like this evil feeling to the chase, right? Where like some shit's about to happen. And the way they pull them over middle of the night, and they have gloves on.
Oh, which was
like they're not about to do some shit that they normally do. And you see the barn at night, which is a lot creepier than we've seen earlier, where they take
It was a good callback to the guy like sings at the schools. Remember they beat him up?
Yeah, they beat up. Yeah. I forgot who they beat up. Yeah,
it's some guy who like sings at the schools, but he's a pedophile.
Oh no, he works in like childcare. Yeah. So it was a good callback. But just the episode in general, like even the scenes with him burning his clothes, very eerie. Yeah, like very very nice shots of like the flames in his face.
That's almost what the show's about.
Yeah, almost like he was being consumed with that fire that he was throwing that shit in. More obvious things.
Good analysis on here.
More obvious things. And even the scene before that, right, where he's this old Wayne.
By the way,
beautiful shot.
That is the shot.
But it is so eerie. And I have to say, if there's one visualization of what it probably feels like to have dementia or something, where you just what?
I thought you were gonna bring up your meme.
No.
We're gonna shout that out.
That was a terrible meme.
That was a great meme.
Nobody
was underlooked.
Nobody liked it. So.
I retweeted
it. Tears in my eyes. A single tear in my eye. No, but that moment I thought was such a good way to visualize to us who don't suffer from any mental illnesses, but it may feel like to people who have dementia, like you're just lost.
Yeah.
You don't know where you are. And the way he walks into that scene is so good. Yeah, because he's with Roland and they do that little thing with the license plate, which I loved. And then boom, he's alone. And you're like, holy shit, like what just happened? And then you feel lost too, right? Because you're with him following the story. Hashtag obvious things. Hashtag obvious things. This is what it calls.
No, but this is, you bring up a good point. I think
thanks.
It's a solid point.
Yeah.
Dude, because I think that sequence, it's like 3 events. Yeah. Right? Those are the defining key moments of that episode.
Yeah. I mean, even the fact that the way he goes up to the car, a part of me didn't expect the car to turn on. I just expected him to go talking to a car that's parked and nothing happens. But car turns on and he like speeds off. Like,
I was genuinely surprised at how Roland got it. I'm like, oh shit, Roland's got it.
Yeah. He's like, you want to humor me right before? And so it was old man detective work.
Well, it leads to mixed
signals
because you don't know, because Roland was all for this plan this week.
Yeah.
And then last week he was like, "Was there a black car?" And he's just like, "Nah." Even though we didn't see if there was a car there.
Yeah, so he's still up in the air. I'm
scared, dog.
I'm leaning towards he's not involved.
It has to be that.
If he's involved, I'm gonna just be sad.
Sad? Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm gonna just be sad. Yeah, I thought that was most of the episode. Anything else that you liked, appreciated, wanted to talk about?
I think we got everything, didn't we?
Well, I mean, plot-wise, yes, we did. But any points you wanted to bring up? Anything?
Well, all right. So would you think the last scene? Again, you say besides the.
Oh yeah. Oh no, even that sort of goes back to my suspense eeriness shit. You don't see the Hoyt.
Edward Hoyt.
Edward Hoyt. You don't see him. You just hear his voice, and you only see these black cars outside. Which
I love it.
Which it speaks to where this paranoia of the car outside comes from.
Yeah.
That's the first time in his life where he had to look out the blinders and see these vehicles.
But it's still sus.
Oh, it's absolutely sus because this is something that's haunted him ever since that 90s, right? That 90s moment. So we're talking about 15, 20 years of that moment is defining for his mental stability, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact you don't see his voice, and even the way, first of all, what's his name?
Michael Rooker.
The way he speaks.
He's very, very raspy voice.
Yeah, his lines that he delivers, and it was really good writing on their part for this phone call. I thought it was really good.
Well, I've been waiting. I've been patient for you already.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit. Like, he's clearly in control.
He's 10 steps ahead.
He assumes the control when he starts naming the kids. All shit goes out the window. When some random dude starts naming your kids, it's over. You've lost whatever grounding you thought you had, right? So,
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Because I think, because Rooker is well, I don't know. You know what? This show, I can't say who's old because the makeup in the show is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Because Michael Rooker is genuinely an old guy.
Yeah, he's on the older side. I feel like he's at least 50. Yeah.
So, and since I'm assuming he'd be playing himself in the 90s version, and it's 25.
Yeah, there's only one version of him. I don't think they're going to go around and do more than him.
Well, I mean, they brought up the past of the daughter. So, yeah, this is my final conclusion about Julie.
Yeah, he's 63. So go ahead.
Jesus Christ. Okay,
he's still rocking it, dog.
Yeah. GG him. My final conclusion about Julie is that when they brought up the daughter and her doing some weird shit because she lost her husband and her daughter, I guess they kidnapped a bunch of runaways and whatnot because she has some weird fantasy. Yeah, to replicate it.
Maybe.
Again, I don't know. That's what seems logical. My final theory about where she went. She escaped somehow.
Right.
And then she went to live on with Mike Arlen, the kid who had a crush on her.
We still haven't seen anything about that.
There's a low-key spot that you haven't looked into.
Fair enough. I haven't.
The evidence is there, man. But yeah, I don't know if he's going to have that last convo with her. Because what are the odds? The last episode, oh, Julie, what's up? We haven't seen
What's up, Julie? Yeah, I don't think they find her. Yeah, I don't think they find her or anything like that.
They'll find out what happens to her, I'm assuming.
I think so, but I don't think they're going to find out who did it or anything. They're not going to crack the case in the sense like everything's going to be all right after, as usual.
I do hope we get closure, though. In a sense of not answering all the questions, but...
We're going to get closure with the characters. I don't think we're going to get closure with the case.
But that's what this season is about.
Yeah,
so
and I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as it's a fulfilling character.
Look, if the last scene is Roland and Hayes just looking off into the sunset, having a beer together...
Fish flying...
I will be fine with that.
Fish flying? What is it? What's it called?
I don't know. All I know is that they say stir some shit up with me.
Stir some shit up with me, man, when I'm old.
I don't see you enough.
All right. Well, I genuinely really liked the episode. I had my issues with it, but on the whole, really, really enjoyed it. Finale.
Can't wait.
Big time. I'm probably going to give this a rewatch right before I watch the finale just to get me in the in the saucy mood for it. And that'll be that for True Detective. Next week, we're going to go and actually review the movie we said we were going to review this week, but it doesn't come out.
Yeah, it's not a wide release yet.
It's not a wide release, so Fighting With My Family, we'll do next week.
My family might.
Oi. And we'll do the Oscars recap. I think next week might be a bit longer because of the Oscars recap, the film, and the
We're doing
finale.
3?
Well, it might be. We'll see. We'll talk.
You got money for that
thanks.
storage?
Oh, yeah. We flooding in storage. Thanks for hanging with us as always. Pleasure to chit chat about True Detective. Thanks for your time and ears.
Catch us on.
Catch us on. Yes, I'm getting there.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna close it.
No, catch us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube. Is that all of them? I think that's all of them.
iTunes?
Yep.
You said iTunes?
I said it.
What a guy.
What a guy. Peace.
Deuces?